You're listening to No Limits Radio Show on the Vets on Media Network.
Welcome back.
We're back.
So if you were wondering what we were talking, like if you're watching the feed, we were talking about football right there. And we might talk about football a little bit later. But first, let's talk about getting a job. Our guest is the founder of Get My Mom a Job. Thank you for joining us, Michele.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a little bit confusing. We've got two Michelles in studio.
Well, just call me bitch and her Michele. Then it's simple. Just saying.
So, okay, Get My Mom a Job. Tell everyone how this started.
The story is very interesting because I did not seek out to be an entrepreneur. I always tell people I'm a happenstance entrepreneur, if that makes sense. Meaning about 2.5 years ago, I was looking for a position for myself that was work from home, full-time, and it was a professional position that I was going to receive a W-2 paycheck. I thought, okay, I'm just going to Google and apply for some positions, and I'll have a position in no time. Well, that was not the case. It was hours, days, weeks, months of frustration, and I realized that I was not alone by talking to other people.
Well, so when you were looking for those, because I got to say, when somebody tells me that they're, looking for a work-from-home position, there's a lot of skepticism there.
People tend to cringe when you use the phrase work from home, and when I started the company, I started using the phrase telecommute. This way it puts a nice professional spin on it, because when you do think of work from home, you think of data entry scams, people want you to buy kits to build things.
Right.
And that's definitely not the case at all.
Stuffing envelopes. Yeah.
Those are your scams. I always tell people, think about stuffing envelopes. Why would they ship you all this stuff and have you pay for stamps and things like this? And I don't really understand how the scam works, but I know you have to pay money whenever most people have assistance. So why would they go outside their building to do something and then promise you thousands of dollars a month to do it?
Right.
So,
but did you actually find any work from home opportunities that were legitimate?
That's what brought me to start the company. I call it hitting the honey hole, and that may not be politically correct, but
wait. Okay, stop. I know this is supposed to be a serious, but could you just restate that? Because I will admit I was a little sidetracked with something that was going on
that
right
usually does grab people's attention.
So can say that one more time?
I call it hitting the honey hole. I hit my hive of honey with all the jobs just came pouring out, and I found it by building my own system to find the jobs.
Okay, so you got to put up a hashtag hitting the honey hole.
And I got to see what the pictures are associated with that, because I have a feeling it's not working from home.
Stop.
La la la. Okay. Anyway,
I start.
Oh yeah, you started something. We'll just keep going with it though.
No, I'm sorry. My gosh! Don't Google that. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what I have to, like, for those that don't hear us during break, which is all of you, she said, I don't know how I'm going to follow up with that segment. You guys were like talking about sex and everything, and then she comes out with hitting the honey hole. I don't know what she was worried about.
Maybe not a good phrasal word, but that's typically how I explain it, because once I got online and realized that there was an art, a system, defining the positions, and I teach people that now. I do a backward search, or you use different keywords. And unfortunately, as job seekers, we're not masters in marketing or SEO or keywords. Who would think, if you're going for a sales position, for an example, why would you need to know anything about SEO or customer service, medical? So unfortunately, you kind of have to become all those things when you're looking for a legitimate work-from-home position. And I made that my full-time job.
So what kind of positions did you find that were legitimate work from home?
Oh, it is amazing. There's positions right here in Arizona in our own backyard. GE hires work from home positions, and they're right in Tempe. U-Haul is always hiring work from home reservationists, or I don't believe that's the actual term, but work from home people to take reservations for their U-Hauls. Mayo Clinic, this blows people's minds. Medical coders, the work from home. Amazon. I mean, I could go on and on with the list. It is amazing.
So these are, I always think of people that are working from home. Like when I think of legitimate work from home, I think of the techies, the computer programmers, or the executives, the CEOs that are able to do that. I don't often think of entry-level positions, and a lot of what you've just described sounds like it's an entry-level type position.
Exactly. Now, 10 years ago, that's who worked from home. If you were able to work from home, you were higher management or technical because you did everything at the computer.
Right.
But these days, a lot of companies are moving to that model. Not only does it benefit the employee, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they may have them, you know, in their minds when they're planning this, but it also saves them approximately $12,000 a month instead of someone sitting in a cubicle for to let someone sit at home. They have a VoIP system, or they'll have their own system, whatever they call it. They can chat with a manager. Everything is right there. There really is no need for them to be in an office setting, and employees are known to be more productive and call off less. There's no reason typically to call off. If you have a sick child, you could still work.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason. Now, if you have laryngitis, then yes, there is a reason.
Right.
But it goes far beyond that. Go to the medical field these days. United Health Group, Humana, Aetna, they all hire work from home. And the hospitals, there's telephonic nurses. And now with insurance companies, I don't know how your insurance provider is, but now if you have a question, I know when I had children, this came in handy. Pick up the phone, you call your nurse line. Guess where they're at?
Right.
Working from home.
Right. And those nurse lines are 24/7.
Exactly.
So it makes sense to let them work from home. So what are some of the, let's talk a little bit about, for these data entry, salary compensation. And are they employees or are they independent contractors? Is that 1099?
1099.
Yeah.
Now this is where it gets confusing for people. There are freelance positions, independent contractor positions, and W-2 positions. The W-2 positions are everything we list in the job guide. I made it where it's only W-2 positions, but what I do on Facebook, because I do have a lot of people, women, mothers who want to re-enter, get their feet wet per se, so they're looking for maybe a freelance writing position or independent contractor position where they have a little bit more flexibility, and they're not, because with U-Haul or Apple or Humana, you're still, I tell people, you have to remember, you're still working for a company. You cannot make your own hours. If it's 9 to 5, it's 9 to 5. If it's 2 to 10, it's 2 to 10. Okay. It's an actual job. You're getting a paycheck. This isn't data entry where you're making 11 cents. Putting a rebate into a computer system. This is an actual paycheck, and that's where the confusion comes in. Now, freelance writing positions or freelance jobs, they could be very beneficial and lucrative depending on how much you're getting paid. I know companies that pay upwards $50 to $75 for an article. You need to be a professional writer, and your grammar needs to be correct, and you need to have experience, but it's amazing what's out there. But as far as going back to get my mom a job, I honed in on the W-2 positions because I got frustrated with thinking I was going on a telephone interview, and then I noticed that someone's giving me a sales pitch and they want $2,500 for a website and to sell a travel product.
So it's a business opportunity.
Yes.
Right.
And nothing personal for people who like to do that. I don't see that as a job, and I was very frustrated because I needed an income.
Sure, and different people are at different places. You know,
Exactly.
If you're at a place where you've got some money in the bank and you're looking for a business opportunity, those are great. I think the part that's a little bit frustrating is how misleading they are in the ads. You know,
Whoa.
Be upfront. Say this is a business opportunity. Don't market it as, you know, a work from home opportunity when it's actually a business opportunity.
And what's frustrating is you find those on the job boards. So they're in these job databases, so you're thinking, okay, this is a position, you know, and they make it sound so wonderful, and then you call. Right. So that's why I really honed in on the telecommute and made myself where I wanted to know the ins and outs of telecommute and help people avoid scams. Every day in the news, there's a new scam, it seems. As far as now, the newest one, I was working with an elderly lady who needed to supplement her income, just not to go off track, but they wanted her...
We go off track all the time.
Okay. They wanted her to purchase a kit that would teach her how to sell on eBay. Well, to sell on eBay, you don't need to be a scientist. You just put your listing up. What they did not tell her is after you spend hundreds of dollars on this information, and most of it was, she sent the guide to me, most of it was just a PDF. I mean, probably took this person 15 minutes to put it together. Did you have to buy products? To sell. It's not that you're just going to, you know, go on eBay and make money, but unfortunately, that's what scam artists do. They hone in on people who are either desperate or, unfortunately, unknowing.
Right. So for some of these legitimate, you know, entry-level positions, what type of salaries are we looking at out there?
Now, they're not all entry level. Like, for example, like American Express, Aetna, Humana, you can get up there into the management, higher management position. Citizens Financial Group right now, I believe they had, don't quote me on this, but I believe I put it on Facebook, I believe it was a vice president position of some sorts, and it was to work from home. So, but the entry level, you're going to be paid regardless if it's entry level, mid-level, or higher level. Whatever you're going to get paid to work at the office, you're going to get paid at home. They can't say, you're working from home, we're going to deduct you by $2 an hour or $10,000 a year. It doesn't work that way. So for an example, if they're paying their customer service reps, like CenturyLink for an example, they hire work from home customer service reps. So if they're paying them $12 to work at the call center, they need to pay them $12 to work at home.
Wow.
Whatever the case may be.
Really?
Yes.
See, I think they could pay less because you don't have the time driving in, you don't have the gas, you don't have, you know what I mean? Like, I think they could justify paying less.
The position's the same, so how do you justify that? Now, if the position's named differently, then they could, it's a different position at that point.
Okay.
They could pay, what they want. But as far as if it's the same position in the office, like U-Haul, for an example, they pay up to $11.50 an hour to work from home. And it's not bad if you think about it. People typically save $2,000 to $7,000 a year if they work from home, and that doesn't even include childcare. Did you know, and I didn't realize this until I was doing research for an article, people spend, if they pick up a cup of coffee in the morning, and I'm not talking Starbucks, I'm talking my Circle K coffee, approximately $1,000 a year just on coffee. Wow. And then everyone says they're going to brown bag it. How many people really do brown bag it? So let's say that you brown bag it a majority of, some of the time, but majority of the time you're running out the lunch. What's an extra value meal? $7 now, $7 something depending. I mean, that could add up to $100 a month. That's another $1,200 a year.
Sure. Oh yeah, if I get depressed if I look at what I spend at gas stations. Like to stop to get my coffee and then I get a snack, or I see something I absolutely don't need. Like the other day I went in to go get a Mountain Dew, and I saw this little blingy thing. It just caught my attention like a squirrel. But anyway, it was this little flashlight that you put on your keychain, and I thought, that's awesome because, it's just great. You should have that on your keys when you're out alone at night. You need the little flashlight. Well, it was $5, so you do spend, everyone should just lock themselves in their house, and it would be much cheaper.
So we talked a little bit before the break about how resume writing and what your resume should have in it has changed. It used to be you're going to have your objectives, your goals. How has it changed? What's different?
What's different now is what I compare the employment market to is the housing market. The easiest analogy I can give. In a housing market, you have a buyer's market, a seller's market. All depends year, season, whatever the case may be. Finding employment is the same way. You have an employer's market, meaning where they have the pick of the litter, and I don't mean any disrespect by using litter, pick of the litter as far as candidates, or there's not 10 years ago, it was an employee job seeker market where you knew you were going to send out 3 resumes, you were going to have a job, maybe a couple job offers. Right. This day and age, there could be upwards of 275 applicants for one position depending on the company and the open position. And that number is known to escalate if it's in a niche market, if there's not, as many jobs out there.
Right.
So that's what has changed. Competition, it's no more resume writing, meaning it has to be more. What I teach people and what I started to do was build a system. It has to be your marketing portfolio. You're marketing yourself. You're no different than my business, for example. I have to market, I need to network. Well, you need to do the same thing as a job seeker. And that's what I like to teach people and show them how to do it. It has to be more than the bland cover letter or bland resume. And I call it the wow factor. I don't want to use any more words that you guys can hashtag, but
oh no, if you've got another honeypot one or honey hole. Do you have another one?
I just call it the wow factor, okay. But I'm sure after walking in on the first segment, I'm sure we could add to that wow factor.
Well, we could, but we won't.
So you actually help people with rewriting their resumes, creating resumes?
We
What
will
is that all about?
completely rewrite it. And our resumes, we don't use template formats. What we did was we developed our own, meaning I took the terms, the objective. Objectives are bland and generic, and if you leave them that way, where it's the one or two sentences, I want to do better, I want to move to a higher level position, or a good one I see, I'm looking for a sales position. If it's bland like that, it's wasted real estate on your resume. Your resume, you have to look at it as a piece of real estate, and those areas really need to be highlighted. And nowadays, what's different, applicant tracking systems. A lot of companies 10 years ago, you really didn't hear too much about that. Now with the internet and everyone doing everything online, when you put your resume into the database, what's happening is when hiring managers pull that, they're pulling by keywords. And once again, now you need to kind of learn the marketing side of being a job seeker. If your resume is not keyword filled, well, you're going to get passed up. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It's all about how they pull resumes and what keywords they're using. My recommendation is you look at the job opening. You can't just write one resume and send it out to 20 companies. You need to tweak it a little bit for each one. Your professional summary, what we changed from the objective, that should be where you put keywords in and where you're actually listing what you do. If you're an account representative, business development, medical code, or whatever the case may be, and you need to write it to that position in that employer. So it should be no more than 2 or 3 sentences, but it really needs to have something that's going to catch that hiring manager's eye. Next, we take the skills or summary set and skill set or summary of qualifications, and we call that success tools, because now it's all about mindset. It's not really just skills. Let's give them the wow factor. You have 6 seconds to impress a hiring manager if they're going to continue to read your resume or not. If you don't have some type of wording or something that's going to catch their attention, if it's the bland resume that has nothing that they've seen over and over again, it's kind of like tunnel vision. Just think about when you're looking or watching something. Another analogy that I like to use for hiring managers when they're looking at resumes. When you're going through the TV, how long does it take you to decide if you're going to watch something or if you're going to move to the next channel?
I would say a couple seconds. Yeah.
Same thing with resumes. So I didn't mean to divert, but people usually say 6 seconds, really, and I think of it as when you have the remote. And if you live with a man, you have no seconds because typically they take the remote.
Not in our house.
That wasn't one of the 5 things men want more of, is the remote. They must already have it.
But so we use success tools, and that should be 6 to 9 keywords depending on your experience level. And that is really going to hone in on what you have to offer the company, what you bring to the table, and then they'll continue reading on to the rest of your resume. Instead of just saying work experience or work history, history of success. Your history, where you work, that's your success. What have you done? References, don't add those to the bottom of your resume. There's no need. If they're going to ask for references, they'll ask at the interview. Don't give more information than you need to. If they need them, they'll ask for them. My opinion, references are a waste of time and space, and I'm saying that from a hiring manager perspective. The reason I say that, whoever gives a bad reference.
You're right. Now,
True.
let me ask you this. When you say that they're, not to put it on your resume, I think that makes sense. Like you said, it's wasted space. However, should you, if you're out there looking for a job, even though you're right, no one's going to give a bad, reference, do you still have those available? Should you still, if you're out looking for a job, should you have 2 or 3 reference letters from someone in case an employer asks?
You definitely want to have it, I call it in your back pocket, kind of in your, I call it the toolbox. You definitely want to have it in your toolbox. But what I would rather see, and hiring managers do this now because thanks to the internet, you could find, you were talking about that article about the school teacher. You could find anything you want about anyone online these days. So what I think is even more powerful than references, but you definitely want to keep, you don't want to put them on your resume, but you definitely want to have some in your toolbox per se, so that if an employer asks for them, you can give them. But I like endorsements. And what I think of endorsements is your social media. We call it professional social exchange, and we put that on the top third of people's resumes if they have professional accounts. So if you have a Facebook account, a Twitter account, LinkedIn, definitely. That's a hiring manager mecca, recruiter's mecca. Definitely want to be on LinkedIn, and you want to have a nice picture, your profile, your headline, everything needs to come together. You can't just slap something up in 5 minutes. But it's when going back to endorsements, when people look on social media, if you're they're going to look for you anyways. They want to know what type of person you are, what you bring to the table. Are you very knowledgeable in the field? Just because you held a position doesn't mean that you're very knowledgeable. And I don't mean that in any disrespect, but show them what you bring. Be different than other people, meaning give them your Facebook account, but if you're going to do that, let me go back. Make sure it's a professional account. Have a separate account. Twitter. I know people who found jobs on Twitter, and I just did an article on how to use hashtags. I mean, it's amazing between Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn.
They're actually finding jobs.
Oh, definitely.
On Twitter?
Yes. If you do a hashtag with your city jobs, or you could do administrative jobs, anything you could think of, medical jobs with the hashtag, it will pull. You figure recruiters are looking for people. They want to get you hired. That's how they get paid. They're on social media, and that's what they're doing. They're trolling. They're listing their positions, and companies do it now also.
So are you saying to actually put the URL, like LinkedIn, you have a URL on LinkedIn that can direct people right to your profile.
Yeah.
Are you saying to actually put your LinkedIn URL on your resume?
Most definitely.
Your Facebook URL on your resume if you've got a professional one. And I would add to that, if you're on social media and you aren't using it in a way that, the rule that I always share with my kids is post something, if it's something that you wouldn't say to Gigi, which that's their 90-year-old grandmother, if you wouldn't say it to her, don't post it.
Absolutely.
And I think that rule is one that, and I won't say the rule of thumb, but that rule is one that even adults should consider.
Oh, most definitely. And what they should do also is watch what they're commenting on, meaning and who you follow. Just because it's a superstar does not mean that's going to help your career. That person has their career. It's not going to do anything for your career.
Sure.
Follow like-minded people in your field and watch what you comment on. You may not agree with something that somebody posts, but if you're looking for a job and you're using your social media accounts, really don't come back with a curse word in your phrase or something that would belittle someone. Keep it professional.
I love you, Michelle.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm so glad that they have that cancel button on Facebook, because you know how many times I write something and I'm like, nah, never mind. No, probably not.
I do want to go back to one thing. We were talking at the beginning of the segment about the research that you did when you were out there and you found all of those different jobs. Is that list of the legitimate work from home jobs, is that something that is accessible to people?
Yes, and I'm actually in the process, and as I was telling you before, I was hoping to have the new website live for the show. My launch date for the new site is on Monday, but you can still go to the website.
Okay.
But we are changing the site, and I wanted to do this to make it accessible to everyone. So how we're changing the site is we're actually making it where you can search at-work jobs if you want to work in your community or wherever, what the case may be, but also you can log in, you could post your resume, video cover letter, video resume. We offer a free video cover letter service, free resume analysis service, and you can have access to the members area completely free, and employers will actually be able to search our database also.
Okay, so hold on a second. Video cover letter?
Video cover letters.
So what does that look like? Because I got to tell you, I think there's a lot of people that show up a lot better in person than they do on paper.
Exactly, and
Or vice versa.
Well, so maybe a video cover letter isn't your best.
I mean, I hire my company, and sometimes I look at the resume, I'm like, oh, great. And they come in, I'm like, remember how you said unless they have a needle sticking out of their neck, don't hire them? Yeah, needle out of the neck, forget it. So there's some people who shouldn't do the video one. But is this new?
It's really not new. It's coming to the forefront, but if you Google it, you'll see companies that have been doing it approximately 5 years ago. I think it's coming to the forefront now, honestly, because of LinkedIn and the other social media sites. I try to push people towards it. The whole thing when I built this company, it started with the basic job guide, and then I realized that people needed help with their resume, and everything I do is outside the box. I'm not your typical, okay, we're going to write a bland resume, we're going to send it out a few times, and you're going to get a job. No, you need to work it.
So what does it cost?
Oh.
What
I keep forgetting. Because every time I say something, I look at her.
I love how I totally have just stressed her out today, and I really didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
You know what's funny is that before the show, yesterday we were having a conversation, and I was like letting her know what to expect. This isn't one of those gotcha shows. It's gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
Let me ask this real quick before we move on, because I wanted to ask you before, because I really haven't done a resume for a long, long time. I've been at my place for 5 years, and so 6 years, almost 6 years. But it used to be when I got out of college, which is way longer than that, a resume was only supposed to be a page. Do you remember? It was like, keep it to a page.
I knew somebody was going to ask that.
But that's a good question, because especially if people...
Sorry, I cringe when somebody says one-page resume.
But, the economy has changed so much. There are many people out there that have worked somewhere for 25 years. So, they're now out doing, interviews, and they haven't done them for a long, long time. What is the rule on that?
Okay, you can ask 100 different hiring managers, 100 different resume writers, and you're going to get 200 different answers. My answer to that, and I'll give you my reasoning on it. One-page resumes are not a good idea, not in this job market. I think it's one of the worst resumes that you could put out there. The reason being, what happens if you have a 15-year work history, you're not with the same company? What's happening is you're trying to cram all that information in. You're removing your professional summary. You're removing your success tools. Or I just had a lady recently who sent in for a resume analysis. What she did to make sure that she could get her success tools or skill set in is she put them on the sidebar, left sidebar, and then had 6 companies squeezed in paragraph form. My eyes were sore. So to be completely honest, I didn't even read her entire resume. And I sent it to a colleague of mine, because that's how we do the resume analysis. I don't do them all. We kind of disperse them as far as to, people who are hiring managers and things along those lines. And she said the same thing. She said it made her eyes hurt, and it was just too much. And it was a disservice to that person because she was skilled. So do not try to cram. Now, you don't want to do a War and Peace resume. Our resume should not be 4 or 5 pages. I like 2 pages resumes. If you've been in the workforce for 20 years and you need to go into 3 pages, that's fine. Never go past 10 years. If you want to highlight a company you worked for 15 years ago that you think is important, list the company, letting them know that you have other experience. And we usually have like a nice little paragraph, and we let them know that all work history will be given at the time of the interview.
All right, we got to go to a break. When we get back, I want to dive a little bit more into how the video cover letter works, the length of it, the video resume. And I also want to know, how is it that our listeners can get the resume analysis? What's the cost of the resume? And you've got some really incredible events coming up. The Get My Mom a Job event, the Get My Vet a Job event, the Let's Work Arizona. So there's a lot of things coming up. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, so don't go away. I'm Christina. This is No Limits Radio.
And I'm Michelle.
We'll be back.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who have chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandage? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details. You're listening to No Limits Radio Show on the Vets On Media Network.
That break is just way too short.
She was like doing selfies and everything and didn't finish.
I had to put that that hashtag, hitting the honey hole. Oh, sorry.
Hitting the microphone is more like
so
it.
sorry. So sorry. You call me racist.
I would say that. Remember that conversation we had the other week? A little bit of truth.
How is that racist?
Oh, so sorry. Anyway, we have a lot to cover. So we were talking about video cover letters.
Yes. Okay. So what's the length of a video cover letter?
Video cover letter should be no more than 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay, and what are you doing?
What you're doing is you're taking the Blandall cover.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about that hitting the honey hole.
You can do that in 30 seconds? Sorry. Anyway,
I'm really going to have to rethink how I explain how I found the jobs.
It's okay. Normal people would have been fine with it. You just were not normal. Anyway, you have 30 or 60 seconds.
Yes, you don't want to go on. You want to grab the hiring manager's attention, and what it's to do is to take the bland cover letter and hone in on what you bring to the table. So what you would put into a cover letter is actually what you're putting into the video cover letter.
Okay, so you're introducing yourself, your skill set.
Always state, you know, hi, my name is. Always finish with, I look forward to speaking with you soon, or whatever the case may be. I look forward to taking the next step, something along those lines. If you're in sales, for an example, and you've accomplished, you increased your division by, we'll say, 98% over the last 2 years, you definitely want to put any strengths in there, any accomplishments that you've had.
So, when they ask you that question, so you create that video resume, that cover letter. Once you get that interview and they ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
What do you say?
I'll tell you what to say, but I'm going to tell you what not to say first. And I always tell people this. They really do not want to hear about yourself, meaning they're not your counselor, they're not a psychiatrist, they don't want to know your life history. So what they're really asking you is about your professional self. You want to tell them what you do. For example, if you're a customer service representative, if you're a medical coder, start with that sentence. I've been doing this for whatever period of time. Once again, hone in on your strengths, just a 1 or 2 sentence of what you've done in the field, and then you want to bring it back to them. For example, if you have accomplished, sales is the easiest, so for the sake of simplicity on the show, I'm going to use sales. So if you have helped your division,
she's realized she needs to keep it simple for us.
It's probably why.
In lieu of time, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. You would tell them, okay, I have increased sales for my division by 98%. End your sentence. That's your sentence. Now end it with, would that not benefit your company? What are your goals for your company?
So you're bringing it back to them
Yes.
and making it about them.
And you want to control the interview, so the more questions you ask, intelligent questions, you just don't want to go in there, what's your favorite burger? I mean, it has to be something related to the position. And like I tell people, do your homework on the company. I tell people, always state that after doing research, I found that I'm a good fit, good match for the position. But if you're going to tell them that, really do the research. So when you go into the interview, you're showing that it's not just one-sided. Yes, we need a job. Yes, we need a salary, but you need to benefit them also. Everyone's favorite radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? So they want to know what's in it for them. What's their return on investment for them? You want to tell them that.
So, yeah, because you don't want to say I'm a good fit for you, and they say why. Why do you feel I'm a good fit? And then you have nothing to say to them. So you need to do some research so you can say, well, I see that, whether it's a new opening of a new location, whether it's they've struggled with this or that, you want to be able to give them reason.
Exactly, and what they're actually looking for. So their job description is going to tell you exactly what they're looking for. Now take that position, Google the company, and put the two together. Now you're going to have a background of the company, so now you're able to talk intelligently about the company and the position and fit yourself into that position.
Do you share any personal information about yourself?
Not if it's
no.
Business is business, personal is personal, in my opinion. You really don't want to open up your personal life. I always tell people, if you're not going to divulge it all, why divulge a little bit? And quite frank, they're hiring you for a position that you're qualified for, not for your personal life or any baggage that can come along. Leave that at the door. And I always tell mothers especially, if you're on the way to the interview and you just had the craziest morning, and let's say the kids are crazy, writing on the walls, can't get them up, babysitter's late, and you're just out the door, barely doing your makeup in the car. When you get there, compose yourself, leave everything at home, because that comes through right. Your being.
Sure. Now, I
have a question about the video.
Sure.
What about quality? Like, are you going to shoot this off your iPhone? Are you going to shoot this off of your computer? And like backgrounds too. If you're, maybe sitting at a window, you're going to be blown out and you won't even see your face.
Those are great questions. And what we do is when people go on the website, we send them how to do a video cover letter. The background, I'll start with that. You want a blank wall, white colored. If you have a white wall, preferably white. If you do not, if it's colored, that's fine. You do not want to show any of your personality. We're a very judgmental society. So if you have a picture in the background that maybe that person particularly doesn't like, or a band, a group, whatever the case may be, let them just judge you, not your knickknacks.
And
but do you want to work at that company? Like, if I've got something let's say I've got a picture of Mitt Romney in the background.
Okay.
Just don't hire her. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, if there's something that's political in the background, or a sports team, I don't know, the Steelers.
I guess what I'm trying to say is you want to make sure that they're honing in on what you're saying, not what's in the background.
Okay.
So you don't want them looking at your wall and saying, that's an interesting picture.
And
what is that?
And I would also think that you don't have to accept a position if you don't like that company once you've interviewed with them.
Exactly.
But it sure would suck to not even get the interview because they hate the Steelers.
I'd say it's like a virtual headshot.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes, definitely.
I would say it's like a virtual headshot, right? You have your professional photo done for an ID, and it's just a blank backdrop, and in this one, you just happen to be moving. It's kind of like a Harry Potter picture.
Exactly. And you were asking about resolution.
What?
I don't recommend doing it on the iPhone. A webcam, if you have one, your laptop. The only reason the resolution on iPhones are not always the greatest, or upload it and put it into a video modifier and make some changes to it, or have a professional edit it.
Now, do you actually make edits to the videos?
Yes, we will make edits
for your clients.
Yes.
Now, what about the cost of the resume? So do I create a resume and then send that to you, and then you do edits to that?
We will completely rewrite the resume, and I don't mean any disrespect to any job seeker. Typically, the resumes we get, we're not really going to, we're going to use what your job is, but we're not going to use your wording or anything like that. We're going to completely transform it, because like I was saying earlier, our wording's a lot different than the typical resume that you'll see out there. but it also is known to get results, and that's why we do it.
And the cost?
The cost currently on the site is $80 for a resume.
Okay.
And we will have a promotion that we will be running starting on Monday when the new site's live, and that will be $40 for a resume to be written and to have your video cover letter written for you.
$40?
Yes. We're doing it.
That's a darn good deal. I'm just saying.
That's a week of Starbucks.
Not that I want to jump ahead on you, but the reason for it is I want to make sure that it's affordable for everyone. When we do the events, we hone in on particular groups. Two of the hardest hit demographics are single mothers and veterans. So what I wanted to do was make sure that we had a service that would be affordable to everyone. So we're going to run a 90-day special where anyone can come to the website, and that we're not just honing in on the two hardest hit demographics. I understand that there's other families struggling and they need to get back into the workforce, or there's people who've been unemployed for a year.
Now, speaking of vets, you've got an event November 7th, which is Get My Vet a Job.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
That one, Bryant Stratton College is hosting, and that is in Virginia Beach. That is going to be full of workshops and also an on-site job fair plus virtual job fair. Plus, we will be live streaming it online.
So people can participate even if they're not in Virginia?
Yes. So people from Arizona can participate and apply for the employers also and see exactly what's going on.
Wow, that's really interesting. And here in Arizona, you've got Get My Mom a Job, and that's August 27th.
Yes.
And is that going to be live streaming also?
No, that one is workshops only.
Okay.
It's not going to include a job fair. The reason being, it depends on the size of the venue. That one is hosted by Connect 5 Family Centers.
Okay.
The reason I chose there and have partnered with them, once again, we had one in May also, is so that single mothers don't have to worry about childcare. It's all on-site.
And in Arizona, we've seen evidence that that's really an issue.
Yes, and I don't think people realize the troubles that they go through.
Sure, sure. And these events are free to the job seekers?
Completely free.
That's great.
And they receive a free resume, free video cover letter, free video resume.
And I'm sure details on these events are on your website?
Yes.
And share with everyone the website URL?
GetMyMamaJob.com. For the event, it's /event.
Okay. That's really easy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
GetMyMamaJob.com. Okay, so I've got one other question.
Okay.
The resume analysis. Anybody can send their resume over to you for an analysis?
Anyone.
And they do that all through the website?
Yes. Once you go on the website, it says free resume analysis. You click that and you just submit it. Get anyone. I have men who submit their resume.
So the analysis of your resume. So if someone can send you their resume and you will analyze it for free.
Yes.
You will say this sucks. But if they want you to fix it, it's $80.
Yes.
Okay. This sucks. Hashtag hitting the honey
hole.
Well,
we go a little further than telling people that the resume is not good.
Why?
I'll let
Keep it simple.
Yes, I'll let you use your phrase.
We had a question. As far as putting pictures on your resume, should you be doing that?
Twofold. Resume space, I call it real estate. If it's going to take up too much real estate, no, that's where you put in your LinkedIn. If it's going to be a very small picture, maybe up in the right-hand corner, yes, you can. I know a lot of people like doing that. I personally recommend putting under your professional social exchange, putting your LinkedIn, your pictures there, instead of worrying about the resume. It's not always. If they print your resume off, that resolution may not come out clearly.
That's true.
It's not that it's a negative. It's just it may not look as good as you think it is when you upload it.
Sure, sure. That makes a lot of sense. Well, this has been really good, and this has been really helpful.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of slang words. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I think it's and the event that you have, time, place. If I know it's I mean, where can people August
27th is the Get My Mom a Job event. That's in Chandler, Arizona.
Yes, and it's a register-only event due to the limited spacing. And we have 2 sessions to help as many people as we can. From 9:30 to 12:30 is the first session. 1 to 4 is the second.
And you also have childcare at this event?
Free on-site childcare.
Free on-site childcare. So there's no excuses.
That is awesome. And are you going to have workshops as far as helping people with things there?
Yes.
So you'll have that also.
There'll be interview workshops, video resume, and then Simmons Wealth Management Company has offered to come in and do a financial workshop.
That's great. That's really
That is
good.
great. Yeah, especially for the moms, like you said, especially with the childcare being, at no charge. When you're a mom, it's hard to do that. And if you're looking for a job, you really don't have the money to be paying someone to come watch your kids so that you can learn how to do something like this. So that's
Well, very cool.
that's phenomenal.
It's been wonderful to have you on to talk about this. So for those of you that are looking for work, definitely go to getmymomajob.com. The event August 27th. There's also an event November 7th, Get My Vet a Job, which I think is amazing. And then for everyone, Let's Work Arizona, that's going to be January 30th. I can't wait to see what your website looks like on Monday. I'm so excited. So everybody go to the website today, take a look at it, and then we're all going to come back on Monday and see what the website looks like on Monday. And before the break, we were learning a little bit about you, and you are a football fan, is that correct?
Yes.
College, professional.
Professional, and I don't think I want to say what team I like.
Oh, we already know. It must be the Steelers.
It is.
I'm sorry. It's
I
okay.
do like the Cardinals also.
Yay.
So we are, last year we did a football league, a football pool. Sorry, I always get them confused. I'm new to football.
Well, I was worried when you said leagues. I was worried that you bedazzled them.
Oh, I'm bedazzling my team. Yes. My football league, that's the one, right? We did the pool last year, which is where you're picking which team is going to win. But now the football league.
Fantasy. It's a fantasy football.
Fantasy football league. So that's where you create your own team and you pick the people. So I'm excited. I'm totally doing it my way and different.
I wasn't here last week. What did you guys think about what was going to happen last week's game versus what happened? Did you guys talk about that at all?
What do you mean?
Which game?
The Texans versus the Cardinals.
It was a great game.
Did you guys have any predictions before when you were on the show that morning?
We didn't do any predictions.
I knew that the Cardinals were going to win.
Oh. Well, was there like one of those choice things again, or you just knew?
I just knew.
Okay.
There was no choice.
Because she's in this state and they're in that state, and Texas starts with a T, and she doesn't like the letter T because when she was in kindergarten, her teacher said to her too many times, so now she doesn't like the letter T, so therefore Texas can't be Arizona. That was pretty close, wasn't it?
Those are kind of how my picks go. Yeah. So with the Fantasy Football League, I've already started to look at all the different players and check them out on Facebook to see how I feel about them, because I'm really not going, like when I look at all the numbers and statistics that they have, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what any of this means.
It's math.
Again, numbers, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going and I'm looking at each player on Facebook and Googling them to see how I feel about them.
Are you going into their LinkedIn profiles? They do have those.
I hadn't thought of that, but I guess I will. Yeah.
So you're kind of acting like a hiring manager as if you were looking for a job seeker, but put on your team.
Yeah, because whoever I pick to put on my team, I have to like them. Like if they've been involved in some domestic abuse or anything like that,
drinking, driving,
or if I don't like them, then
if they just look weird,
or if they post things that I feel are just mean, then I'm not picking them because I have to like them. I have to energetically support them.
She won't be picking any player.
What?
I already found one that I like.
One. Keyword. I did this all last week and I found one. I found one player.
Well, I have a whole spreadsheet that I'm doing. So yeah.
Okay.
So
when do you have to have
excited.
this done by?
It's the 31st that we're doing the
Oh, you still have time.
draft.
Yes.
Thing. Yeah.
You might not get the player you want.
I know. I've got columns set up
Okay.
for first choice. And
It's impressive to see how much you changed with football from last year to this year.
Yeah,
How much
I knew nothing. But my team name is Shiny Sparkly Glitter Blings.
Is that one word or is that multiple words?
It's multiple words.
Okay, you can't
It should
hashtag
probably-
it as one word.
Oh, I should hashtag it as one
what
word.
did I do?
That would be awesome.
That would
Yeah.
take forever though. You better have that
I think
in your
that,
phone.
you know what, actually?
What?
It would be really smart to have an NFL team bedazzle the hell out of their uniforms.
for breast
Because
cancer.
They already do pink in the
no,
one
no.
month.
Bedazzle it. Rhinestones, sparkly.
Wouldn't that cost you can poke an eye out with
What are you trying to do? It's football.
Because the other guys would run away from him. They'd be like, ooh, don't get that glittery shit on me.
Oh, maybe I'm at a strip club. Get that glitter away from me.
Well, obviously we're not a sports show, but for those of you that do like sports, JD's Rockin' Sports is up next. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
This has been No Limits Radio. Thank you again, Michelle, our guest, for coming in studio
Thank you
and
for having me.
and braving the show with us and sharing all about Get My Mom a Job. I'm excited.
And for everyone else who knows a little bit about you and I, we have Chicks Making Bacon tomorrow.
Yes.
So go on to Facebook and like our page, Chicks Making Bacon. And
It's kind of like an I Love Lucy show, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. If you liked the I Love Lucy show, you got to check out our show.
Yeah, because it's just like it, but it's in color instead of black and white. But besides that, it's pretty much all the same. But
Hey, Lucy! My mom! All right. We'll see you later. This is Christina.
and I'm Michelle.
Bye.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars